for this entire month in preparation for the Thanksgiving season, we're talking, our general theme is counting our blessings, looking at the simple gifts that are all around us and identifying those things that are blessings in our life and then naming them one by one. I think that is a wonderful idea. It's a simple practice, but it's not easy because a lot of stuff gets in the way, like Glenda said. Experiences, people, activities, the global whatever's going on, it all gets in the way. But the fact of the matter is, the more open we are to seeing everything in our experience as a blessing in one way or another, the more open we are to actually love the life we're living. If we're not open to the experience that is in the moment, we're not going to be able to actually embrace and love the life that we're living in that moment in time. That's been my experience. It's harder to take in life because sometimes life sucks. Have you noticed? Sometimes life is difficult. Sometimes stuff shows up in a way that is hurtful, that doesn't feel good. And so this idea that we can look through all of that to acknowledge the blessings that are within that and then open our hearts enough, like Glenda said, to receive whatever that blessing is in that experience so that we actually have a sense of well-being, so that we're actually joyful in this human walk in the world. Because you know what? Being a human being is not all that easy. Have you noticed? Stuff gets in the way. And what I know about this, and it's certainly the truth in my life, when I recognize the blessings that are all around me, even in the stuff that doesn't look so awesome, it's an acceptance of the isness of my experience. It says, all right, life, I love you, even though I'm not feeling really well, even though I've got a backache, even though my family's falling apart at the seams, even though, within all of that, there are blessings. Because I love what our authors that we're working with this month, I don't know which one it is, but one of them says that we experience our blessings, which really is an awareness of the divine energy, through every doorway that we encounter, in every experience, in every thought, in every moment. That is a doorway to honor and acknowledge blessings. It's only in the moment that the blessing exists. Do you see how that works? It's only in the moment that we can say yes to life. Right now, I love Daniel Nahman's song, right where I am, right where I stand, I say, amen. This is a blessing. Right here where I am. So I'm working with a couple of different texts today, and I'm reading from a wonderful little book by Rick Hansen, used in the recovery community quite a bit. It's called Just One Thing. And this is what he says. He says, take a close look at this moment right now. That's an invitation. We're basically surrounded by blessings. No one's attacking us. No one's drowning. No bombs are falling. There's no crisis. In this thin slice of time, in this moment, it's not perfect, but we're okay. We're all breathing, our hearts are beating, and our minds are working. Of course, we're not ignoring real threats or issues or pretending that everything's perfect, because it's not. But in the middle of everything, we can actually open our hearts to the blessings of this moment as it is right now. And that's where the doorway to recognizing our blessings is located, right now. Those of you who work with the Eckhart Tolle material, right now, be here now, Ram Dass tells us, right now. So as Glenda said, the problem is we tend to judge everything. We tend to criticize everything. We tend to hold this, even if we don't state it, it's like, well, if only it would show up like this. If only everybody would get along. If only whatever. If only. When we're in an if only, we're not counting our blessings. If we are, in the 12-step community, restless, irritable, and discontent, we're not going to see the blessing. When we focus on what isn't there, the peace in our family, the harmony in our heart, our healthy body, our, whatever's going on. When we focus on what's not there and overlook what is present, we're missing the opportunity to see the blessing. It's that negativity, that complaining that Glenda was talking about, that fault finding, that ignoring the blessings within all this stuff. And you know what? It's usually based on our prior history, right? Our expectations. Sometimes we get so numb to what's going on around us, to the blessings in our life, that we literally go through life with an "oh, that old thing" sort of attitude. Oh, another sunset? Oh, another smile from a friend? Oh, another hug? We overlook the blessings. We take things for granted. That's what gets in the way. That's what gets in the way. It's just another one of those things. And we're not really honoring the beauty of the moment and what it presents to us. We forget the truth. I love what Eric Butterworth, great metaphysician, teaches. He says, we live in a universe that is opulent, limitless, and accommodating. So no matter what's going on, within that there is this richness, because you know what? Whether we like to acknowledge it or not, it's all God. It's all divine. It's all the activity of God expressing, even when it looks icky. So we got to take responsibility for appreciating whatever that is in the moment and recognize and remember the truth of our being. I picked this image behind me because I love what Eric Butterworth teaches. And I hope you take this idea with you when you leave today. You're always as blessed as you think you are. You are always as blessed as you think you are. Basic 101 metaphysics, thoughts held in mind. That's why I picked this image of the cup. Is your cup half full or half empty? You're always as blessed as you think you are. So what does it take to heal our thoughts about our life experience? We got to slow down enough, be present enough, be humble enough, be attentive enough to hear the call of our soul that says, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. There's a blessing. To recognize the aliveness within our experience that lets us know, oh, that is a blessing. Look at that. Don't hurry through life. Pay attention to the moment. And so I love also what Butterworth, he says, we recognize our blessings in equal measure to the presence and open heart we bring to each moment. So if we're closed, if we're rushing, if we're going, oh, that old thing, or another one of you, beautiful sunset, if we're rushing through life and we're not bringing an open heart to the moment, we're missing it. We're not going to see the blessings. And so David, go to the next image for me. David, son David. Next image, please. I think I interrupted David's movie.
Oh, sorry, here we go.
This is a secret. This is a secret. When you're working with your blessings, when you're working with your human experience, sometimes it just shows up icky. Icky. And I know that I'm not the only one in this room who's had that experience. And I love the invitation of Jack Kornfield in his book, After the Ecstasy, The Laundry. He says, you gotta leave room for surprise. See, we can't have it all figured out all the time. If we think we got it all figured out, we're gonna be missing the blessing. And so, this is my one opportunity this year to read this story. I've read it before, so if you've come to Common Ground in the past, you've heard this story perhaps, but it's my favorite story because it's sort of symbolic of what goes on in my life. So, this is a story about an elephant, okay? And this is about leaving room for the surprise. And this is about finding the blessing within whatever. And I love what he says. He says, we cannot predict how our awareness of blessings will show up or in what form. When my children were 3 and 5 years old, the Ringling Brothers Circus came to town. I bought ringside tickets right in the center, 2 rows back. The children liked the clowns and tigers, but most of the other acts were too far away to seem remarkable to a young child's eyes. But then, the elephants came out with their feathered plumes and sequined riders. They circled the ring twice and came right near us. Then they stopped. All at once, the big elephant just in front of us began to pee. A huge flood cascaded in the sand below. And then the elephant began to poo. Large bowling ball-sized spheres thudded to the ground one by one. The children sat in wonder and excitement, and in that moment, life was astonishing. For weeks after that, the children talked about going to the circus, and what they told over and over was a story about the elephant. That was the most amazing circus act of all. The open heart celebrates the simplicity of the present moment. The blessing and wonder of one moment is enough to rejoice. This is sort of an untidy example of if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Yes? Finding the blessing within it. We've got all these preconceived ideas of what a blessing needs to look like, and sometimes it looks different than we expect. So here's your invitation. Remember that the present moment is the doorway to recognizing your blessings. There's no other place to do it. The more open you are to seeing and appreciating the blessings that are already all around you, the more open you will be to loving the life that you're actually living right now, today. And this is the most important thing. You are always as blessed as you think you are. And don't ever forget to leave room for surprise. Because sometimes life gives you those bowling ball-sized poo things. And we have to figure out, how do we enjoy the circus that life presents to us in the moment? How do I say, I accept and I love life today just as it is? Thank you for listening. So this morning we hope that you've heard, seen,